Hi Laura, Jordan Reeves. I just wanted to start off by saying thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share what I love and who I am with you and with Cleveland Playhouse. So without further ado, let's get going. Who am I? I'm a Southern-bred, Ivy League educated ballet dancing stuntman. I'm a dyslexic Shakespearean scholar, a passionate teacher, a collaboration-driven artistic director. I'm literally one generation removed from cotton fields, and I consider myself to be a working man's director and an everyman storyteller. Now that might seem like a lot of contradictions, but I'll try to explain. I was born in the Deep South, one generation away from farm pickers. My father was the first ever to go to college in his whole family. In fact, he was the first one ever to go to college in his entire hometown. And being brought up in that rural culture, I learned that hard work, perseverance, and faith are how you change the world around you. I'm very proud of the blue-collar roots I come from, and I've always tried to make theater for the working man. For I found that those that could benefit the most from theater are often the people that theater has made the least accessible to. I have a very specific background in movement, which makes me a very visual storyteller. I started out my artistic career as a ballerina dancer dancing for the City Ballet while I was also playing high school baseball. I've also spent the last 15 years as a stage combat choreographer and live stuntman. I bring a very physical and visceral dynamic to the flow of movement inside the stories I tell. A love of language has always been a pillar of my work, but I come from it from a slightly different angle. I was born and still am a severe dyslexic. But what I've learned from my learning disability is, one, humility. That if you really want to succeed in life, you're going to have to ask others for help. It's also taught me that some of the most beautiful things in life are only attainable if you slow down, roll up your sleeves, and do the difficult work. From my struggle with dyslexia, I have grown to have this great love for the English language. So much so that I've spent the last 9 years dedicated to spreading Shakespeare in my community. I first fell in love with Shakespeare when I had the opportunity and privilege to go to graduate school at Brown Trinity. While I was there studying, I learned a wealth of skills and knowledge and insight into theater, but even more importantly, I think they changed who I was at the core. They told me that I wasn't just an actor or a director, but that I was an artist. And that with artistic talent comes great social and community responsibility. I learned that I was not to wait around till others gave me permission to do theater, but that it was my job to go and do the theater that I believe the world needed today. And with that truth at heart, I graduated from Brown and became a founding member and artistic director of a non-for-profit Shakespearean theater company in New York City, the Guerrilla Shakespeare Project. Being an artistic director of a grassroots theater company taught me a lot of things. It taught me how to lead and inspire a group of talented artists. It taught me what true collaboration is. And I think it taught me my greatest strength was seeing the best in others and helping bring that out in them. This strength has also served me well as a professor and a teacher. I love teaching young artists and passing on my passion and understanding for theater to the next generation. So much so that some of my former college students are actively creating and producing Guerrilla Shakespeare all on their own a year after I finished teaching them. There is no better feeling in a teacher's life than to experience the humbling pride when you see your students succeed without you. And I believe that this desire to help others grow and to find their personal truth is one of the major components to my directing. So, to sum this all up into the hallmarks of my directing work, my work always starts with the audience. I believe that theater should be a place that anyone and everyone is allowed to come and sit down and feel like they're a part of a conversation that can entertain, educate, and inspire. My work always strives for simplicity and precision and is rooted in strong language and athletic storytelling. My work is always ensemble driven, for I truly believe that the best theater comes from collaboration. and I consider myself to be an actor's director. I started out in this business as an actor, and I know what bravery and vulnerability it takes for them to do their work. But I would say that my biggest hallmark is that I always try to craft a play from an angle or a point of view that allows my audience to see it with fresh eyes, so that they feel like they have a personal connection to a new and relevant story. I'm hugely influenced by Joseph Papp and the Public Theater and what that stands for. I believe wholeheartedly that theater should be for everyone and about everyone. Other artistic directors who have influenced me on a more personal level would be Oscar Eustis, Kevin Moriarty, and Laura Kepley. and then there are actor artistic directors who I find inspirational, like Mark Rylance and Laurence Olivier. On a personal note, I think that there are certain directors who have helped shape my work, and those people would be Amanda Dainert, Stephen Bisher, Mark Brotherton, Donald C. And because of my movement background, I'm also fascinated with the work of Stephen Hoggett. He's the choreographer and movement director for such pieces as Black Watch, Once, Peter and the Starcatchers, and Curious Incidents of the Dog in the Nighttime, Rocky. And he works with directors that I love, like Alex Timbers and John Tiffany at the National Theatre of Scotland. And that makes me think also that I'm very inspired by ensemble-based theatre companies. So the National Theatre of Scotland is an inspiration. Knee High in London, Third Rail Productions here in New York, along with Fiasco Theatre. And that's just to name a few. Wow, there are just so many. Let's see. Winter's Tale, set around a campfire with bluegrass music. A Richard III, set in a morgue where everybody's already dead in body bags to start the show. Moving Away from the Bard. I'd love to do anything with Tennessee Williams. Being from the South, I'm a big fan of his work. Anything from Orpheus Ascending to Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. I'm also fascinated to do modern tellings of plays like Cyrano de Bergerac and Inherit the Wind. And then there are living modern playwrights like Sam Hunter, Becca Brunstetter, Andy Bragan, who I would love to do anything they came out with. Okay, well, Black Box Theater is my bread and butter. So what I'd like to pitch you is an idea for Midsummer Night's Dream. And there's two things I really want to talk about. One is the audience, and the other is Puck. With the audience, what I'd love to do is pull out any of the seating that's already in the black box and get 100 office spinning rolling chairs donated. And what I'd like to do is bolt those down throughout the theater, all over that space, so it spreads out, and that is our stage and our set, and that's where the audience sits. And so they get to sit not with their friend next to them, they get to have their own individual experience, and it's also a 365-degree experience where they can turn here, and then behind them something happens, and they can whirl around, and somebody can whirl over there. And so we've really got this dynamic space going, but we're in the safety of our chairs. And also the other idea inside of this is that we build from those chairs the idea that this is a dreary workspace in the dead of winter that we walked into, and there's going to be one actor at a desk in the middle who's passed out, having a dream. So that when our play starts and the magic and Puck starts to come in and boom, we suddenly can change that space with lights and everything can come out of that office space and become this magical place where they become the woods, and we dance and we play around them and they play with us. And inside of that, Puck's a big idea, because I'd love for Puck to be everyone. Not one cast actor, but all the actors, so that he could jump from body to this person to that person, in whatever scene he chooses, wherever we choose to. And all we would need to do is then create this beautiful physical theater approach where we all are playing the same Puck with the physicality and the vocal reactions and so forth and so on. And then we'd have spinning chairs and jumping around fairies and all this fantastical stuff out of a space that was a dreary workplace, which is where a lot of our audience probably has come from right before the show, and showing that there is still magic and wonder maybe inside of the desk drawer that they just closed. Laura, I'd like to say thank you again to you and the Cleveland Playhouse for giving me this opportunity, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did making it.